Hi everyone, Curtis here from Goth Rider Creations, and in today's episode we're going to finish making the body of this guitar. Stay tuned. So, after all of the work of last week, now's the time that we can put the top on this thing, get it all cut out, and actually have a shapely guitar rather than just a boxy one. So, yes, and the subject turns to the top that I'm going to use, because as you know, I'm running out of time. I've got 3 weeks, if that, to get this finished, so I need to find a way of saving time, and done a bit of soul searching, and I've got a top that will just go straight on this thing. So yeah, should save a bit of time and a bit of aggro. Yeah, so I did some hunting around. I've been catching up on a lot of the GGBO builds, some amazing stuff going on there, and yeah, I've done a lot of looking around, and it seems that quilted maple is kind of the, well, a lot of people like quilted maple, always have done, but it seems to be the in thing this year. So, yes, I'm a sod and I don't care. 10mm, pre-made, excellent. What do you think I've been doing with my spare time? Come on. So, that's the basics of it. Now, unfortunately, there is a slight misalignment. This side is perfectly flush and beautiful. This side has dropped down about 2mm, and I'm not entirely sure how I managed that, but the whole bottom edge is about 2mm lower. But luckily enough, we have our cheap Balsa. So, as much as it's probably not ideal, I'm going to make a little packing piece to go across the bottom. That will bring it up right. There might be some, small gap around the edge, but we can fill that with the super glue and the sawdust, so it's not the end of the world. And to be fair, it's the bottom left-hand side of the guitar, so when you're playing it, that's the corner you're going to see the absolute least. So if there's ever going to be a mistake on this guitar, I'm happy it's there. So, we're not all perfect. So yeah, what we do now is I'm going to pack out that bottom edge so this is sitting flush, and then we will masking tape and super glue the top to the body, and then we will be able to get the jigsaw out and get the body cut out. So after all that, we now have a guitar. I've only done those 2 little bits of tape, so let's see what we can do. There we have it, all shaped out. It's rough as hell, but you're not going to get perfect from a jigsaw, so there we have it. As you saw, a couple of the ends did snap off. I couldn't tape around the whole thing because I didn't know where I was going to be cutting across, so yeah, it was kind of to be expected, but they're glued back on. No harm, no foul. And it doesn't matter if it's slightly wavy, because it does actually dip a bit in the centre and it kind of cups up either side. I think it's about 1.5 mil, so it's going to need a lot of sanding with the DA anyway. So yeah, there we go. We have the basics of the body. So next job is, I wish I could leave it wings like that. It's kind of cool, just have it just sort of fold down. But yeah, so next job, I need to map out the electronics areas for the scratch plate. I've got to cut out the sections there, so there's a path through for the wiring and for the pots and everything. Also need to sort out the hole for the jack, because I'm going to use the existing jack plate. And then on this side we have got the sound hole. So we're going to start with this one because it's the easy one, and then we'll sort out the design for the sound hole. And that's another job done. So it doesn't fit because this isn't the right scratch plate, but that now will work. It is a little bit of a mess, but it will allow us to clear things. Now I'm gonna build a whole new scratch plate, as I've said. I will be rerouting the electronics so I can do a tighter line into here, so I don't need to cut away as much of the top end. I'm going to be using different switches. I'm only going to be using one tone, one volume, so I'm going to simplify this up a lot, and then hopefully I can recut something that's a bit more befitting the shape of this thing, because yeah. So that's now done. The only hole left to do is the sound hole, but if I'm honest, I'm still finalising the design because I've been really struggling to find something that I like. So I'm working on that at the moment. I'm just sizing that, so that'll probably be next episode, or the ending of this one, depending on how I do the rest of this week. As you can tell, I'm a little bit worried about this whole time crunch thing. But anyway, next job is... what is the next job? Yes, shielding paint. Now I have been looking at the options, and no offence to Crimson and Stumac and all the other companies that make shielding paint, it's ludicrously expensive for what it is. It's a tiny little pot of paint and costs £6. Really? So yeah, so what I've decided to do, and I did watch this from another YouTuber whose name completely escapes me, and I do apologise. His Rich Light topped multi-string fan fretted headless, it's gorgeous. I will find the guy's name and I will mention it because he's a legend. In fact, I'll Google it now. Apologies for that. His name is Mark Gutierrez, and his curved fan fretted, oh god, it's just stunning. It goes beyond guitar into just artwork. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I was really surprised that when I was watching his series, he just got some standard acrylic poster paint, which he told me on his chat, thank you very much, and some graphite, and just mixed them together. It was very thick, it almost looked like a paste, but he tested it on his video and it worked. It was perfectly acceptable shielding paint. So I went and got myself a bag of graphite. It's black, so no one can confuse it for anything else. No, I might come from South London, but yeah. So big old bag of powdered graphite, used for lubricating locks, so locksmith's thing apparently, and some cheap silver paint. Everyone does black for their graphite, for their shielding paint, and I figured, why not go for something different? So I'm literally going to mix this lot up, and I'm going to paint it in here. I might film it, I might not, I might do that inside, because yeah, gives me something to do while chilling out with Mrs. Gothrider. So yeah, I'm going to paint all of the inside of these cavities with the shielding paint, and then all that's left is to sort out the sound hole and the acoustic cavity, and we're in business. Actually, while I'm at it, I will also sort out the hole for the jack plate as well. So that's another job ticked off, and we have our sound hole. Now, I was absolutely racking my brains trying to think of what I wanted, and everything I looked at was either too complicated or just didn't grab me. And I know a lot of people say, you know, don't venture into religion or politics when you're presenting things, but I've been watching a lot of Todd over at Sweet Tea Guitars, and he pushes such an awesome message, you know, the whole peace and love and everything. And yeah, I thought to myself, I'd like to add a little bit of that into my build. And yeah, Mother Earth, pentagram, it definitely means that for me. So yeah, wanted to do that a little bit different. I did take Mrs. Gothrider's advice by putting the shielding paint on there, and I do love that. I don't know if it comes on the camera, but you get a nice little shimmer. We've also got the shielding paint on the back here and all through the cavities, so we are about as shielded as is possible to get outside of putting a Faraday cage inside a guitar. So that's all done. I still haven't done the jack plate hole, even though I keep saying I will, because I might have ordered a black one to go with the other black stuff. Anyway, so yeah, so that will drill last minute, but to be honest, I might actually leave that until we've got the scratch plate kind of organised, so then I'll know exactly where I want to place it in relation to everything else. But it's a simple hole and a bit of Dremel work, so we can leave that for now. So that's that all done. Now we're going to move on to the little trick bit, which is some LED backlighting inside the acoustic cavity. So I've gotten out some of my electrical stuff. Back in my early days, before I started doing much in the way of woodwork or anything else, my earliest projects were modifying motorcycles, badly modifying my ones. I'm sure if my uncle's watching, he can testify to that. So it mostly involved making LED taillights and indicators and stuff for motorbikes and modifying wiring looms. So yeah, I kind of enjoy doing this. Now what I've done is I originally bought some purple LEDs because I figured with when I was trying to do the purple epoxy fretboard, I figured it would tie in quite well. Problem is, they sent me UV ones, which are technically a purple light, but most of that light is not in the visual spectrum, so a bit useless. So I did some hunting around, and I have many packs of cheap LEDs that I bought over the years for various projects, and I managed to get hold of some blue 3mm LEDs, and we just chuck a button battery on there. I don't know if that will show in this light, but we've got some nice blue. So what I'm going to do, I won't go into full electronics education here because I'm not the person to educate really. I dabble, I'm mostly self-taught other than a few soldering lessons and a work experience for a week where I got blown up by a TV, which we won't talk about here. But yeah, basically I'm going to run 3 together, which will then put the voltage up to 9 volts, and then I can use a standard 9-volt battery. It's a hell of a lot easier than AA's and whatever else, or button batteries. It's just easier. And to be fair, if anyone wants to do this, if you've got active pickups, then theoretically you could just hijack a bit of power from the 9-volt battery that goes in there to run this round. So if anyone wants to do this, I have done a little test rig here. So it is literally 3 LEDs on a connector block with a positive and a negative, and then you just run positive. You can combine negative, positive, combine negative, positive, negative at that end, and then you literally just run 9 volts through it. I do have my handy little power supply here. To be fair, if you're ever going to get into the electronic side of things, get one of these because they are quite inexpensive. You can generally pick them up for, I don't know, 10-15 quid, and it does make life a lot easier. And here we have a nice triple set of blue LEDs. Now, it's not purple, but it's close enough. I'm happy. So all we're going to do, and to be fair, if I wanted to be really lazy, I could literally just cut this connector block off and just glue it straight in the cavity and be done. I'm going to try and do a little bit more than that, so I'm going to make up a little balsa wood block, mount the LEDs in there, hot glue gun them in place. It is a nice simple way of doing it. The only tip I would give is use hot melt glue gun sticks. Don't use the standard stuff. The standard stuff works all well and good in general conditions, but if it gets particularly hot, or you know, I mean, this would never be used for stage, but obviously stage lights, you know, it gets hot at a gig. The normal stuff can melt just through hot body temperatures, you know, up to sort of 40 degrees, 40 to 50, it can melt and then just become useless. So the hot melt is definitely a trick that you should use. So yeah, we're just going to gum our way through. I've got some shielded 10 core cable. I don't know if this is used for like Cat 5 or something like that. I'm sure someone who knows will tell you. I managed to grab this off of a site from an electrician who wasn't using it anymore, it was just scrap. So that's really useful because you've got 10 cores, you've got some earthing bits in there, and you have shielding. And I always recommend in these situations use the shielding. So we're literally going to rewrap these cables with this stuff, run it in, and done. Right, that was a bit more of a mission than I intended, but now we've got it all sorted. So, sound hole's all done. Yeah, a few people are probably thinking that's a little bit overkill with all the shielding for 2 cables at 9 volts, so probably a tiny bit of amperage. But the way I see it, the amount of people that chase hums and chase feedback and have to go through their wiring 4 times over. The way I see it, I'd rather waste a little bit of time now than have to be chasing gremlins. And from what I understand from people have said, the Strat-esque style guitars with the single coils, they're a nightmare for feedback and noises and God knows what else, hence why people ended up upgrading to humbuckers and everything else. So the less aggro I have to chase initially, the happier I am. So all we've done is literally just left bare cable for now. Once we actually get to the electronic side of things, we'll work out where to mount the battery and everything else, but I don't want to go running cables just yet when we've got half a ton left to do. So that is basically it, other than the scratch plate and the electrics, for the major fabrication on this thing. So yes, next will be the really fun job of sanding and shaping. Yeah, you can tell I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, unfortunately I do not have a oscillating spindle sander, although if anyone watching knows anyone from a a large tool manufacturer that might be willing to throw one, Ben Crow, to leave that, anyone help me? Yeah, so if anyone wants to sponsor me with a oscillating spindle sander or something of that nature, I'm not proud, I'll happily take that from you. But yeah, in the absence of that kind of generosity, I think next episode will be me playing with rasps and files and all the other lovely hand tools to get this thing a bit nicer. So that's the plan. Oh, and for people that are interested, i.e. Ravnox and a couple of other people, we now have the final count for everything. So from what I understand, and if I've missed anyone out on any of the YouTube, the GGBO videos, please let me know. But from what I've seen, there are 3 contenders for the award, unofficial, that I've just created, of most pieces of wood in a GGBO 2022 build. Now, from what I understand of it, 3rd place goes to Crafty Old Git. I've been told, and I haven't counted, that his is about 100 pieces of wood. Absolutely beautiful. The London plane, I believe he used, has come out absolutely stunning. Full credit to you, mate. 2nd place would be myself with 479 pieces of wood. That might surprise some people, but yeah, when you're dealing with strips of wood this long, making the neck actually didn't use that many bits. So yeah, so I will put myself in the silver place position, and the winner without a doubt has to be Ravnox Outlaw Guitars. The estimation at the moment is somewhere between 900 and 1,000 pieces of wood. So yeah, check out the Tartan guitar if you haven't already. It is absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I will be sanding all of the well, 470 odd pieces of wood in the next episode. We'll get the fretboard flattened off, might even get that radius, might get the frets cut, get everything else filed, sanded to within an inch of his life. I'm not going to go too crazy with the whole sort of 1,000 grits and all the rest of it. This is just going to be simple sand down, get flat, get shaped, and then we'll look at the finishes after the fact. And yeah, I think we should get there. But yeah, please let me know what you think of the sound hole, and yeah, thank you so much for joining us here. As usual, please like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next episode for all the fun stuff. Take care, everyone.